honorees, please come to the stage. So Jim, that's you. Okay, Dave will do it. Unless Scott's Jenny right here. Jenny right there. Scott Vagatus, please come to the paging booth. We're down here by Jim.
Do I have to?
I figure you guys might have something to talk about. Okay, as we finish finding our seats, I'd like to bring up Dr. Brad Ritchie, our superintendent, to say a few words.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Milton-Union High School. It's good to see so many familiar faces, and for those of you that have traveled some distance to be here this afternoon, welcome back to Milton-Union High School. My name is Brad Ritchie. I'm the superintendent. Thank you for joining us. Believe it or not, this is my 9th Hall of Fame induction ceremony. For the first, I didn't know quite what to expect, and this program quickly became one of my favorite annual events that we do here. This is such a well-coordinated event. The planning, the setup, anyone who had anything to do with organizing this afternoon and evening, thank you for your events. It has always been excellent, and you do a phenomenal job. Of course, tonight's inductees are certainly deserving of our recognition for their athletic achievements. Over the years, what I have learned is that each inductee has a unique story of triumph, perseverance, and passion that pushes beyond interscholastic sports. Their team includes family members, neighbors, fellow student athletes, teachers, coaches, youth sports coaches, and others who helped, encouraged, and motivated them to be more. As a supporter of public education and all it offers, tonight is also a celebration of our community and its traditions. So congratulations to our honorees, but also job well done to all the helpers that they had along the way. You are in great hands this evening. Doc is an almanac of Milton-Union High School sports statistics and just knowledge in general. You could not ask for a better guide and MC for what we can guarantee will be a great evening. So thank you for being here, and once more, congratulations to our inductees.
Okay, good afternoon again, and welcome to the Milton-Union High School Athletic Hall of Fame inductions, the 18th one of these. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Bill Ginn. I've had the honor to be the Master of Ceremonies for the last 17 of these. It's a very special day and night of honor for some very special members of the Bulldog family. Many of our Hall of Fame members are in attendance tonight, and I hope you'll take some time to greet them as you see them walking around here on the floor. It's really cool to see some of the heroes from the past that you knew and loved, and can go up and tell them that. Every sport that Milton-Union High School sponsors is represented in our Hall of Fame. 52 of our current 72 members have the sport of basketball on their resumes. Football, baseball, and softball, and track and field are the next most common sports played by Hall of Famers. And a reminder, this is not a solemn occasion. It is really a joyous one. We are here to reminisce and laugh and celebrate our athletes, so sit back and let's have a really great time. You've met Dr. Ritchie. I'd like to thank him and the rest of our administrators, some of whom are in attendance, who allow us to use this venue. I would like to recognize our athletic director, Chris Fulton, who's sitting in the back, who gives us valuable assistance in putting all of this together. It is important for everyone to know that the Athletic Hall of Fame is not sponsored by our school, but is funded by proceeds from this banquet, fundraising activities during the year. But mainly and most importantly, it is driven by private donations. Should you feel the urge to donate to the cause tonight, you can find Ron Berner or myself, and we will be more than happy to take your money. I would like to take a moment at this time to recognize all of our current Hall of Famers who are in attendance. If you are here, please stand and be recognized. If I miss you, please raise your hand at the end and I will mention your name because we'd like to know who's here. So as always, Diana Broombaugh Finfrock. Wait till I call your name, Mark. What?
He doesn't follow.
Diana, did you even stand up? Yeah. Kelly Behrens Hoffman. Steve Huffman. Sally Dickinson. Ron Berner, who's already standing in the back. Dave Fine. Kim Berner Dorman. Steve Broombaugh. Rusty Berner. Scott Strain. Here's Scott. John Broombaugh. Doug Studebaker. Jennifer Ginn Thompson. Mitchell Evans. Mark Vagadas. Jessica Herkins Broombaugh. Ryan Paul. Mark Lane. Mark? Hey, Mark. And Alicia Hellman Penny. Did I overlook anyone? I got everybody, okay. We would also like to recognize the Hall of Fame members who have passed. I'll read their names off. You can just hold your applause till the end. Ken Hemrick, William Segan, my dad, Bob Schul, Bill Fox, Charles Fox, Watt Farrar, Carl Broombaugh, David Kripe, Ron Peel, Ed Lendensky, who is represented by his wife, Carolyn Lendensky, Dick Overla, Ralph Hildebrand, Bill Carnes, Rex Warner, Sharon Paul, whose son Ryan I just introduced you to, Tom Gingrich, and Tim Goins. So could I have a round of applause for all of the Hall of Famers? I know I speak for the rest of the Hall of Fame committee when I say how much we appreciate our previously elected Hall of Fame members who choose to come back and attend this event. It's often a significant travel time for you folks, and I know it's somewhat of a burden, but seeing you is such a pleasure for all of us and your classmates and your friends and admirers. I hope you will continue to attend and support this program. So as we begin our introductions, let's mention the dual purpose of this Hall of Fame. One, and most obvious, is to call attention to some superb and memorable athletes who have walked the halls of our school. And second is to inspire new generations of athletes who hopefully will find this recognition something worthy of seeking, and hopefully they'll develop their craft to the level which our Hall of Famers already have. Now on to the introductions. To the newest Hall of Famers, I'm going to tell you that I'll be saying a few things about each one of you. And if any of the things I say are incorrect, as I say every year, you are welcome to correct me. However, if what I've said is better than what you actually did, you can go with what I said and no one will know. All right, our first honoree today is Jim Hammond from the class of 1970. Jim was a standout for Milton in basketball and tennis from 1966 to 1970. In tennis, Jim played first singles for 3 consecutive seasons and was named All-SWBL in 1970 after finishing runner-up at first singles that season. Who beat you?
Fred Pierce.
Some guy from Oakwood, probably?
Yep.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Most of us old-timers, however, remember Jim as a basketball player playing for coaches Ed Lendensky and Kenny Schaefer. Back in 1967, it was rare for a sophomore to be a true varsity player, but Jim was on the Bulldog varsity, and in the following 2 seasons at Milton, he led the Dogs in scoring, averaging nearly 20 points a game in each of those seasons. At the time of his graduation, his 1968-69 average of 19.8 points per game was the 3rd highest single-season average in history. His career average of nearly 15 points a game was the highest of all time for anyone not named Ken Hemrick. And if you don't know Ken Hemrick was a charter member of this Hall of Fame. Jim ended his career number 2 on the career scoring list behind Ken. Had there been a 3-point shot at the time, he easily would have been number 1. Jim was well respected by Milton's opposing coaches. He was twice named to the SWBL first team, despite being on teams that only won 5 games combined during that stretch of time. But what I personally remember about Jim was his sweet, picture-perfect jump shot. In my driveway, as a kid, he was in my brother's class, my older brother's class. I would try to emulate his jump shot. It was just, he would have this way of centering his arm and following through just perfectly. It was textbook. I know a lot of kids did that. He went on to be one of a very very select set of Milton-Union players who went on to have a collegiate basketball career, playing for the Fighting Engineers at Rose Polytechnic Institute, now known as Rose-Hulman Institute of Technology. Ladies and gentlemen, Hall of Famer Jim Hammond.
Thank you. When my classmate, Belinda Brain, called me and said, hey, Jim, you've been selected, I think my words were, I'm flattered and I'm humbled. A lot of good athletes came through Milton-Union High School, especially football players. And anyway, Dr. Ginn, I'd like to thank you for keeping a private medical practice servicing this community. My dad got involved in that back in 1954.
I always say he was the last good doctor.
No, I don't buy that. Anyway, how did the Hammonds get to West Milton? It was Russell Norris, the Oldsmobile dealer, that recruited Dad to bring the family up here. I was 2 years old. He rented Dad a house. He built him an office. He rented the office to him until Mom and Dad could afford to buy it. I went to a funeral last year. A good friend of mine, Jeff Schroeder, been in the golf business for 40 years. His father passed away, Raleigh Schroeder. Raleigh was this is Speedway, Indiana. We're central Indiana folks. Raleigh was a state trooper for 10 years. He transitioned into sporting goods, and then he became a golf pro. And he was a golf pro at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, which then became Brickyard Crossing for 39 years. Anyway, a friend of mine eulogized Raleigh at the funeral. And one of the things that he said was to Jeff and his 2 siblings, he says, you folks just don't quite realize what you had or what you have. And it was a long deal, but the bottom line was, you were born at the right place at the right time to good parents. That struck a nerve with me, because that's the way I feel. Anyway, the Hammonds are in West Milton, and Dad needed a partner. So Dr. Bob Hittner and he were interns at Miami Valley at the same time. Hammond and Hittner, think alphabetical order. They became became great friends. Uncle Bob came to town, and he married a young lady by the name of Zoe Wirtz. And they were Uncle Bob and Aunt Zoe, and still are today. And Aunt Zoe's here tonight with her daughter, Amy Zebney, brought them. Mom was a 16-year-old graduate of Fairview High School. She was a tomboy. She was playing ball with her brother and his friends, and ended up with the first scholarship to Miami of Ohio from Dayton, the Dayton Scholarship. She played field hockey. I'm also flattered that my sister is here from Houston, Texas, with her husband, Dan. And a few years ago, I made the statement that my brother Bill was possibly the best athlete in the Hammond family. I'm going to have to retract that. And he's not here to defend himself, so anyway. But we're a couple of has-been athletes that chug around the golf course and try to hit the ball. Ann Louise is still playing USTA tennis down in Texas. She's in 5 leagues next week. She's played in the over 60-year-old team that got knocked out in the Texas Regional this year. And a few years back, she was in the over 55 team that won the Texas Regional and went to the Nationals and came in 3rd. I'm promoting her to best athlete in the Hammond family. Anyway, we all played a lot of ball, and when I started thinking about this, the first thing I thought about was we started out with Little League, and then it was Pee Wee football, and then Duke Small had the gym open for 5th and 6th graders on Saturday morning. And who were the guys that were trying to help us develop the skills to be ball players? Well, you didn't have to go very far. You had Duke Small, John Dom, Fine Brothers, I'll miss a bunch, but Paul Vagades, on and on. And Bill Cope was another one that was right in there. And they helped us learn to be competitors and to be good sports, to develop sportsmanship skills. Duke had that 5th and 6th grade deal on Saturday mornings, and I was right there. I think that's when I got bit with the bug of basketball. And Big Ed's responsible for the jump shot, Bill. Anyhow, I met Big Ed somewhere in there, and he talked to me, and I drank his Kool-Aid. So away we went, and by the way, Big Ed also coached prior to West Milton at Logan, Ohio, where Steve Coate, who was 2 years older than me, also coached. And we have some Hammond family members from Logan, Ohio. Crystal and I have no children, but we have 16 nieces and nephews. My brother Rob is deceased, and we've got Emily and Tessa's daughter, and Emily's husband, Tim Foltz, all came over here to share the evening with us. Thanks, guys. So anyhow, I can't talking about the coaches that really hit it off with. Good old Les Whitefield. He was he really gave a lot to a lot of kids that were going through West Milton and helped them find a way to play ball in college. And my favorite Les Whitefield story was I'm playing football for him, and you know how it is, you're getting chewed for something you did or didn't do, and you say, well, Coach, I thought. And his words were, Hammond, don't think, it hurts the team. So anyhow, we had a lot of fun playing ball. My dad was not a big sports fan. Mother was the real pusher. he was probably proudest of sportsmanship recognition that I got while I was at West Milton. And I hate to rain on your Cheerios, Dad, but I'm here to tell you, the whole peer group I played with were good sports. That's what those guys taught us to do. They taught us how to compete, and they taught us to be good sports. So how did I get to Indiana? Well, I got to hand that one to Jimmy Coate. It's my junior year of basketball. We're having practice after practice. He says, Jim, he says, aren't you interested in math and science and engineering? And I said, yep. He said, this school nobody's ever heard of is recruiting me to play football. And Dad and I are going over there to check it out. Would you like to go? So I tagged along. Well, we got over there, did the tour, the whole bit. There's a ball game on Saturday night. And when that buzzer went off to end the game, Bill Coate, Jimmy's dad, turned to me and said, Jim, you can play with these boys. I had my eye on Purdue. I couldn't have carried the water at Purdue. But I got to play at Rose Poly, which became Rose Holman. Got a heck of an education. Division III sports, there's no athletic scholarship. That means they don't own you, year round. And I got to do everything. It was a wonderful, wonderful education. I got Jimmy Coate to thank for that. I played 3 years of ball there, and our field house was unique. It was an old B-29 airplane hangar, a Quonset hut. It had a dirt floor in it, indoor eighth mile track, and a wooden basketball court in the center of it. Our coach and athletic director was quite a promoter. He had a siren, he had a cannon we shot off. We waited until the opposing team was just coming out of the locker room to start the game. And he had this banner that dropped out of the ceiling that said, "Give 'em hell, Rose." We tried. Anyhow, I got through Rose and had 6 jobs in 23 years of gainful employment, and figured out what I wanted to be when I grew up. I'd wanted to be self-employed, and I started an independent sales rep agency. And the rest is history. I'm still doing it. What's that got to do with anything? Well, all the things that we learned playing ball at West Milton, being sports, being competitive, working hard, to develop your skills, come up with a jump shot maybe, and that all plays in our success. My wife's here with me tonight too, and Crystal's always got a special project. She's attending seminary now and has been there for a couple years. She's currently doing something called supervised ministry at a church in Avon, Indiana. And so on her 64th birthday, she had to give her first sermon. And she was just a little bit nervous. And so her entree was, and she was quoting a friend of mine, Crystal, what could go wrong? You've been preaching to your husband for 34 years. Anyway, I'm pleased to be here. I had a great experience in college and growing up in West Milton, Ohio. And all those things that we learned along the way have helped me have a very fruitful career. Thank you very much.
Okay, next up is Scott Vegas, also from the MU class of 1970. Scott won multiple varsity letters in football, basketball, and baseball during his Bulldog career. As a running back and occasionally a quarterback for Hall of Fame coach Watt Farrar, Scott distinguished himself by rushing for 297 yards versus Piqua Catholic, recognized by most of us now as Lehman Catholic, in 1968, his junior season. That record stood for 45 years, but here's the kicker. It took Scott only 18 attempts to get 297 yards. The player who broke the record took 40 attempts to break the record. By the end of his career, Scott was number 5 on the career rushing yardage list, despite having a senior season that was limited by injury. Scott was a 4-year letter winner in baseball for MU, which is very unusual at the time. A great baseball career under coaches Ed Lendensky and Roger Wise led him to a collegiate career at Ohio Northern University. Or do we now call it the Ohio Northern University? A shortstop during his high school career, his major role at Northern was as a relief pitcher, and teams he played on participated in the Small College World Series twice. He continued playing baseball into his adult life, playing in the Roy Hobbs League, and if you've ever seen the movie The Natural, you know who Roy Hobbs was. He was his team's MVP 13 times and was elected to the Greater Dayton Baseball Hall of Fame in 2022. Even more recently, his DuPage Lugnuts team were the 2024 Roy Hobbs World Series champions. Both Scott and Jim were good friends with my brother, and I remember Scott showing up at our back door before the Friday night football games on many occasions. My dad taped his ankles. He'd be sitting on the kitchen table talking. My dad would be taping his ankles. Do you remember that? Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, third member of the class of 1970 to become a Hall of Famer, Scott Vagatus. Wait a minute. I understand the Vagatus family has a lottery based on how long Scott talks. So, Vagatus family, I'm designating myself the official timer. I will time it. I will announce the time at the end. If you win, please stand up and be recognized.
How do I follow that? You got it started? All right. Well, thanks, Billy. I do appreciate that. And thank you to all of Milton-Union Athletic Hall of Fame, not only for the selection, but being nominated, but for the induction today. A special thanks goes to Ron Berner. I know you've put in a ton of time for this, and certainly appreciate it. I'd like to also congratulate the other 2025 inductees. Congratulations even to Jim. So, anyway, that and congratulations to all the Hall of Famers here that were out in attendance. That's just pretty cool. I'd like to also recognize my wife, Chris, 2 daughters, Em and Mel are here, and my brothers and sisters made it in. How about you all stand up, because just to recognize all of you, because otherwise nobody's going to believe. Everybody, yeah, Mark, stand up again. Yeah. So they all made, yeah. Anyway. Yeah. I'm pretty shocked that they even this many came. Anyway. And I'd like to thank the 1970 classmates that showed up last night, and thanks to Mike Hoover for putting on the Hale House. That was very nice. Certainly appreciate that. Also got a few of the Homestead golf buddies that showed up here, and that was just very nice. I also want to mention my friends Ron and Sherry Boldman. They happen to be from Northmont, by the way, and they moved to West Milton a number of years ago because they knew it's a better place than that down south. And so after the banquet here, you might want to check with Ronnie to see whether or not he was part of that group that painted the Bulldog green. That was before our Northmont game, which we beat Northmont. So anyway, I think I had the scoring touchdown on that one. 15-10. Anyway, yeah, maybe we should go. All right. And I'd like to acknowledge my gratitude and appreciation to all my coaches, including Duke Small, Al Dom, my dad, as well as Watt Farrar, Ed Lendensky, Bob and Dick Ovala, Buck Wise, and Les Whitefield. Duke and Al were stalwart in Little League baseball and Pee Wee football, and why Al put me as a catcher when I was one of the youngest and smallest on the team. But I think he just knew it, and through that catching experience, I think improved my hitting, keep an eye on the ball. It was just, those coaches were just good. I did play on the Code All-Star team, Milton-Union's traveling team, and one thing I'll remember about Dad I thought was important was I remember when he started Leroy Applegate, and I was hoping Leroy would be here, one of our classmates, and I know a number of you know Leroy. Leroy wasn't the most athletic, but he loved to play. He would just love to be a part of the team. Well, I can remember when Dad started him for one of our games. We all thought, damn, we're going to lose this game. But just the pure joy and excitement that Leroy had on his face was just incredible. And that's the part I'll never forget. So it's those kind of memories that not only do you create for yourself, but we create for everybody. So at that time, like I said, we were worried we were going to lose that game. But Leroy was so excited, and I think that's why he and Dad were always good friends all the way through. So we did the freshman year in baseball, 1967. We won the Southwestern Buckeye League. And yes, I got to play with Brother Mark. Coach Lindensky found me a spot in right field. And we really didn't keep any stats back then for baseball. I think Billy's done a great job on football, but we just didn't have much for baseball or whatever. But Ed found a spot for me out in right field. Mark was at short. But like I said, we won the Southwestern Buckeye League that year. And at least according to the Milton record, I actually had a triple that scored the run, and we won that game. So I guess it was okay. Football, that was Milton. I had a pretty good game, as Billy mentioned about Piqua Catholic. And where's Studi at? Studi, come on up here a minute, would you? You can tell a story that I can't say. Well, anyway, Studi reminded me, I did end up having like 4 touchdowns and some extra points, 297 yards, which I'm sure if Watt knew, he'd have ran me a couple more plays. But anyway, Studi reminded me, and I really kind of forgot about it. And we all know, halftime, we're in there. What does Coach Farrar say? What's the score? It's 0-0. That's the only time he ever said, no, it's not. We're up by 26. It was pretty special. But anyway, so that was, as Billy said, lasted for a little over 40 years or whatever, which was pretty cool. Anyway, I'll lose track here. Then we did win the Southwestern Buckeye League in football our senior year, which would have been 1969. And we went 10-0. And I guess I'll point out Dick Overla was probably the most influential to me. I still recall him saying, you think you're pretty quick, you're pretty fast or whatever. Let me tell you, there's always somebody out there faster, better than you. So work harder. Do your best. And that's what the coaches drove for us, was to do our best. And after he said that, he said, okay, go back and practice catching punts. Okay, every one you drop, it's a mile on the track. Holy shit. So I didn't drop a one that day. But, that was what the coaches were, all of them. They were driving you to be your very best. And I think Milton was blessed with the coaches that we had. I did go on and play baseball at Ohio Northern, as you mentioned. We won our Ohio Athletic Conference, the Mid-East Regional, and then went on to the Small College World Series in 1974. And at that time, Ohio Northern is a D3 program. There was no D3 tournament. It was combined with D2. So the Division II gave scholarships, D3 didn't. And we ended up surprised. We were the only D3 school in the tournament, and we ended up being ranked 3rd in the nation that year. So I was mostly a relief pitcher, an occasional starter, but I did pitch that in the final Ohio Athletic Conference game, and we won that one. My note was, after college I played a lot of softball until Mark called me and said, hey, we got a tournament, guaranteed 6 9-inning games, and on our off day we get to go fishing. That clinched it. So I'm headed down to the Red Sox and the Minnesota Twins spring training facilities in Fort Myers, Florida. And so we've been we've been pretty successful. So I've played since 1995 in the Adult Baseball League, and I've played in Florida, Arizona, North Carolina has a nice tournament. Anyway, and now our Dayton-Cincinnati League. So I still play in a over 50 and over 60, and this year they're talking about a 65 and over team here in the Dayton-Cincinnati group. So hopefully I'll be able to hang in for that. But anyway, it was, I've been fortunate through that Roy Hobbs tournament, and we've had over 304 teams, I think, were the last time in there. Our team, been on separate teams, but we won it 5 times, second a couple times, and over a dozen times we were third in that. So it's been fun. It's been good. As Billy made comment, I don't know if I even told you that about this past year. We ended up playing the 65 and over. We won that tournament, and that went that we played the Friday, played 4 games prior to get seeded, and then on Friday we had 2 9-inning games. We won both of those to bring us into the finals. So the morning game I pitched all 9 innings, and we beat the Philadelphia Cutters. Moved on into the afternoon game, another 9-inning game, and we played it in the Red Sox JetBlue Stadium. And if you've not been down there, it is built just like Fenway Park. Big green monster left field, gorgeous. But we did win that one. And luckily, I ended up having the hit that scored the winning run, and we won the tournament. So it was fun. So I've been fortunate enough to play baseball, basketball, and football here at Milton, and to be able to enjoy playing baseball still today. I was inducted into the Greater Dayton Baseball Hall of Fame. I think they wanted some older folks in there to make it look good or whatever. That was 2022. And honestly, I attribute it all to Mom and Dad, my family, all the teachers, coaches, and players here at Milton-Union. Again, thank you to the Milton-Union Athletic Hall of Fame. It's an honor and congratulations to all the 2025 inductees, and especially Jim Hammond, which I'm sure all of our 1970 classmates came to see. Anyway, thank you all.
Okay, Bag and his family are on the edge of your seats. This is official. 10:51. 10:51. Who? Oh, Linda. Yeah, okay. No such betting on Jenny. No. Our third honoree today is Jennifer Behrens-Lang, class of 1994. You know you've been around a long time when you can say that you personally witnessed every game and match that any particular athlete participated in her high school career. And that's exactly what I can say in regards to Jenny Behrens. I hope it's okay to call you Jenny, because you always were Jenny to us. I first saw her play volleyball as a talented freshman on Sally Dickinson's 1990 team. She was a setter at that time. Sally always liked tall setters, and was third on the team in kills as a freshman behind Hall of Famers Melissa Marshall and Aaron Storer. And although that team only won 9 matches, over the next 3 seasons, Jenny's teams won 47 matches, collected an SRC championship, and was 1 win shy of a trip to the Final Four in Columbus, losing to the team that finished runner-up in the state that year. Much of the team's success depended on Jenny's play, and it was outstanding. She led her teams in kills, assists, and aces. She was such an excellent server that her career total of 215 aces was the 3rd highest career total in the state of Ohio at the time of her graduation. She was an All-Southwestern Rivers Conference, she was elected to the All-Southwestern Rivers Conference team 3 times, and was All-District and All-Ohio in 1993. At graduation, she had played in the 3rd most matches of any player ever, was 3rd on the career kills list, and 1st on the career assists list, and 1st on the career aces list. She also had a very productive basketball career, finishing at number 12 on the career scoring list, number 4 on the career rebounding list, and also was all SRC in basketball. I don't know if she remembers this, but I spoke to Jenny many years ago when Kelly was inducted into her Hall of Fame. It was at the end of the banquet, and I told her I thought someday you'd be receiving this honor. And her response to me was, "Oh no, Doc, not me." Well, here we are. Ladies and gentlemen, Hall of Famer Jennifer Behrens-Lang.
Okay, I'm going to take a deep breath here. I'm a little nervous. I don't do well speaking in front of large crowds. You can put me on the court, but you don't want me speaking. First, I'd like to thank Milton-Union for giving me this induction. I am very humbled to be up here on the stage with all the other inductees. I had some big shoes to fill following my sister Kelly going through Milton-Union the 4 years that I spent there. I was blessed to be able to play volleyball and basketball with my teammates who I got to play with, and my coach, Coach Dickey. She kept me grounded. I wouldn't have made it through the 4 years without her for volleyball. She was an amazing support for me. I just really am grateful and thankful for the 4 years that I had. Thankful for my sister to make it all the way here from Wisconsin to share this with me, and my husband who we made it here from Kentucky today for this. So again, thank you, and thank you, Doc Ginn, and thank you, Milton-Union, for this. I appreciate it.
Our fourth and final honoree today is Wes Martin, class of 2014. It obviously didn't take the Hall of Fame committee very much deliberation to elect Wes to this honor. He was a first ballot Hall of Famer, and rightly so. He has arguably the greatest career course of any Bulldog offensive lineman, with a Big Ten and NFL pedigree that has no equal in MU history. As a high school player, Wes was a tackle, a certified road grader for the Bulldog offense. His high school honors include him being a 3-time first-team All-SWBL offensive lineman, being selected SWBL Offensive Lineman of the Year in 2013, and twice being an All-Ohio selection, including a first-team selection in 2013. His prowess led him to an athletic scholarship at Indiana University, where all he did was play in 50 games for the Hoosiers, including 43 starts. He was twice named All-Big Ten at his offensive guard position. In addition, he was named 4 times to the academic All-Big Ten team and was a semifinalist for the William V. Campbell Award, which is more commonly known as the Academic Heisman. And also, did I mention he was his team's captain, too? And a bit of trivia for you, Wes. I want to see if you can answer this question. Wes spent his career as an offensive player, but he had 1 tackle in his career. Do you remember what team you got your 1 tackle against? It was October the 7th, 2017, if that helps you at all. Charleston Southern. Charleston Southern. Not like playing Iowa. He went on to be selected in the 4th round of the 2019 draft by the Washington Redskins, now, of course, the Commodores. Subsequently, he spent time with the New York Football Giants, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Cleveland Browns, participating in 38 games during his career and starting 11 of those. Wes has returned to West Milton, and besides being somewhat of a real estate mogul, he is on the board of directors of Brave Breed Rescue, a local canine rescue and sanctuary that he established here in Union Township. Ladies and gentlemen, Hall of Famer Wes Martin.
Appreciate that, Doc. I did not expect any quick trivia. I apologize that I let you all down with not remembering that game from a random October in 2017. But it reminds me to continue to sharpen my mind for future random trivia. Thank you all for being here this evening. I really appreciate it. It's an honor to be up here with you all. I appreciate all the former inductees showing up. It means a lot. It makes this really special. This is something I've really been looking forward to and something I've been really excited about. So yeah, thank you all. And I'll go in a little more depth of thank yous, but just a rundown of my career path, I guess. We grew up here in West Milton, lived right out on 571 for, I don't know, as long as I have a memory. Third grade was the first year could, like, legally, Milton, had football, so got signed up for that. There's a funny story I'll touch on later regarding my mom and third grade football, and I'll just jump into it. We Coach Sean Jones had this. He loved bear crawl jollies, and I did not. I couldn't stand them. And I was with my dad one day after practice, and I was like, Dad, I don't want to do this anymore. This sucks. Like, this is miserable. We go out there, we practice a little bit, and then we just get on all fours and trot around like we're wild animals, like we're bears. Like, this isn't fun at all. So he's like, well, you better call your mom and see what she has to say. So I called Mom, and she says, yeah, no shot. You'll be at practice tomorrow. And that's the, here we are today. But yeah, football and baseball were really my primary sports growing up. Rolled with those up until high school, really. Freshman year of high school, I always played third base. That's just where I was comfortable on the diamond. And I had started lifting weights a little bit more. Probably did a little too much shoulder weightlifting. Got out there for freshman year, tried to make the throw across the diamond, bounced it off the pitcher's mound. Yep, this is probably my last year of baseball. So I had to hang up baseball, hang up those cleats after that year. Picked up track. So for the remainder of my high school career, I obviously did football in the fall, and I did track and field in the spring, and had a good time with that. And then from there, I was fortunate enough to go off to Indiana. I was there for 5 years. It was a great experience, great school. I love my time there. I would put Bloomington, Indiana up against any college town out there. I think it's a great place and a great environment. And then from there, I again was fortunate enough to get drafted and to have a good go with that, and spent 5 years at a couple different spots in the league. And I was just very fortunate. I was typically the shortest guy in the O-line room, definitely the shortest arms. So not really sure how I scrapped it out for a handful of years, but we did. I was always available, so there's some sayings out there that availability is highly valuable. So I kind of cherished that, and just managed to stay healthy and rode it out. But along that journey, there's obviously plenty of thank yous, and the more I think about it, myself and other people in these positions are really just kind of we're just kind of this mold that gets formed together by all the people around us, and the family and the friends and the community. We are just the ones that are lucky enough to be the one getting molded and shaped and formed and pushed along. So starting from scratch, Mom and Dad, obviously thank you guys so much for bringing me into this world and caring for me and nurturing me along the way and giving me a shot. At every step of the way, you guys always cared for us, provided for us, and any opportunity that was out there, you guys made sure we had a shot at it. So I'll forever be grateful for that. Brother Adam is sitting right over here as well. Thanks so much for always being there. He was a couple years older than me. Thanks for toughing me up at times. We were getting these little squabbles and fights, and everybody always told him, you better watch out. You give it a couple years. You give it a couple years, he might leapfrog you and be able to whoop up on you a little bit. But it's funny, as soon as I got a little bit taller and stuff, the fights just really dropped off. They just kind of went out the window, Other family members down here, thank you guys so much for those. Those early stages of life, you guys, Grandma and Grandpa and everybody, you guys really shaped me and formed me, and again gave me every opportunity possible. There was never a time where I felt like I didn't have a chance or an avenue to get where I wanted to get to. So from there, my coaches, teammates, teachers, everybody was hugely impactful. Starting back from my Pee Wee coaches, I already had one story about it, but coaches like Sean Jones come to mind, Coach Burkett. Fast forward to middle school, I think Kyle Roy sitting back there. He was my coach in middle school, very impactful. And then got to high school, Coach Pierce, Coach Blackburn, Coach Dickinson. They were all a huge part of my journey, and I'll forever be grateful for all the guidance and all the lessons learned. And it was a lot. I wasn't always an NFL lineman pedigree type, believe it or not. There was a good stint in there from, I would say I was a pretty solid athlete when I was young, like 3rd to 6th grade. I was pretty solid. Then I went from like 7th grade to sophomore year. I was growing a lot, and I just went through this like Humpty Dumpty stage where I was out there just clumping around. And I learned a lot through those phases. I remember sophomore year I was out there playing, and probably, I don't know if I had any business out there playing, but I was a big kid and I was a big body, and I was able to get in enough people's way. But just great experiences to be able to keep competing and through phases of your life like that sets you up for when your body does catch up and you can go out and compete, how you want to. So, great journey. Obviously none of them are here, but I had so many college coaches as well, NFL coaches that were hugely impactful to me. Just a lot of people that I'm really thankful for. I wanted to, there's some kind of key moments and some stories or whatnot through the years that I thought I could touch base on. I already touched on the 3rd grade bear crawl story where it was miserable. I wanted to quit so bad, but I wasn't allowed to. Probably a good thing. Fast forward, what was another one? When I was in middle school, because I was a super shy, reserved, soft kid. I'll be honest. I was kind of a soft kid, and I was playing basketball that year, and not in this gym. It would have been in the old school. We were down by 1 point. I ran down the court. There was like 3 seconds left. Threw up a 3-pointer. Got fouled. Went to the free throw line. And so I had a shot. If I sink 1, we tie. Sink 2, we win. Don't have to worry about the 3rd one. Well, I just brick all 3. Just not even close. and we're walking out, and I can't remember exactly what Mom said, but she was like, "Well, congrats, Wes, you lost the game for your team," or something like that. And I'll never forget that, and it was a very callousing moment, and it was fantastic. I love it. The memories always, that memory is definitely ingrained in there. Push forward to high school. So many memories. Obviously, on the good memory side, junior year we had a fantastic season. Made a long push at it. Had so much fun. I've said it I think several times over the years. But that year, I've come back and spoken to some teams, Milton teams and other teams in the area, and everybody always thinks like, oh, well, you play in the Big Ten, or you play in the NFL. Like those are the experiences that you probably remember, right? Like those are the most impactful and your best memories, and it's not even close. There's memories from seasons like that with your high school teams that are more impactful than anything. And the amount of success we had that year, and just the amount of fun we had, something I'll always remember. Then I went off to college. That was crazy. I showed up. You come from a small town. You think you're doing all right, and then you show up and just get smacked in the face because everybody's bigger, taller, faster, smarter, and you just got to figure it out. You either figure it out or you pack your bags and go home. So we stuck it out and scrapped it out, Indiana was a fantastic place. Doc again touched on some of the academic stuff, and I wasn't a great high school student, but I think I had a reality check later on in my high school career. I was like, man, I gotta start figuring this stuff out. Like, it's going to be important one day. So I got to Indiana, actually started taking it serious, managed to pull some good grades together, landed to some accolades in that department, which I'm grateful for now. There are things that I can, kind of hang my hat on, things that I'm proud of, things off the football field that I can, that I can take pride in. But there's so many moments through that career. One big one comes to mind. Had an O-line coach that I'm not going to say his name because we had a rocky relationship. But I'll never forget, we had a practice one day where we were outside in the heat. We scrimmaged for about 2.5 hours. Storm rolled in. We were excited. We thought we were done for the day. Head coach says, hey, head to the indoor. We're going to finish the scrimmage. So we go to the indoor practice. It's terrible from there on. No one wants to be there. So we restart the whole practice over again in the indoor. It's humid as all get out. Afterwards, the offensive coordinator, he's ticked off, because we weren't performing. At that point, like, no one, we were barely walking. So no production was happening. So we get on the line. He just starts running us. I don't remember a single sprint after like 12, and we ran like 22 sprints that day. So then from after rep 12, then my next memory is waking up on the back of a golf cart with the whole medical staff around me. So that was interesting. I don't think I told any of my family about that for until probably a good year after that happened. But what that is, crazy as that was, what it did, it kind of set a threshold for me and allowed me to figure out how to play hard. I thought I knew what playing hard meant, but I really had no idea until you have a moment like that where in that moment I knew, okay, well, I can push the limit farther than I ever thought was possible. And I'm not going to die. I might pass out and get loaded up on a golf cart, but I'll still be around. I'll still be around tomorrow. So I'll never forget that. It was kind of, funny tag onto that. The offensive coordinator, they had IVs in both arms. I'm sitting in the training room. The offensive coordinator walks in. And he kind of poked his head around the corner, and I saw him. I had just gained enough consciousness. I lost. It's probably the most obscene language I've ever shared to this day at that guy. I was so mad, but it worked out. Going on to the pros was it was very interesting. They tell you when you go to play college football that it's very much a job, and it is. It very much is. But you're still a student. You're still on a campus with other students, and you're enjoying that experience. But when you get to the pros, you're legitimately locked in a facility for sometimes 12, 14 hours in a day, and it's a grind. It takes there's a big reality check when you walk in there. People think it's all sunshine and rainbows. That's unfortunately not the case. But I tell you what, I think this translates to all sorts of different things. But if you can just put your head down and push through some of those instances and some of those challenges, gosh, there's just some really cool stuff that can come of it. And I was fortunate enough to see some of those things through, and I got to play in some just incredible venues and had some incredible teammates, some first ballot Hall of Fame NFL guys I got to share a locker room with and share conversations with, and I'll never forget those things. Those things were awesome. But yeah, that's the journey. Those are some of the big highlights for me. This whole journey, but it all just ran in the back end. It all started right here. It started in this community. It started just down the road here where I lived, and in the old school, and then transferring over here. Gosh, it's been fantastic. I've maybe didn't love every moment while I was in the moment, but now looking back, man, I loved every moment of it, and I'm thankful for every moment. And I had the question popped in my head, like, what does it mean to be a Bulldog, as I was driving in today, because that's when I started my speech prep. So that's how I typically plan for things like this. I was like, what does it mean to be a Bulldog? And I just think, I just think there's something really special about this place, but also just, small town, Midwest America, and I think West Milton is a prime example of it. My wife and I, we had and also shout out my wife with our 3 lovely children over there. Thank you to her for later in this wild journey, for hanging in there with me and going through some of those, just crazy days where you walk in, you don't know if you're going to be fired or not, and it was an interesting process. But thank you, honey. But yeah, we had the opportunities that we bounced around. We lived in some different cities and different states, and ultimately we ended up coming back here because this is home, and this is the place we want to be. And it's a special place, and I say that as much as I can. I think so many young people think that the grass is so much greener in different places and in the big cities, or wherever you might go. But gosh, I don't know. I would challenge that in a lot of ways. I think places like this, in West Milton especially, and this high school and this school, they're really special. And I know they've done a lot for me, and I'm really grateful for them. So that's all I got. Sorry. Appreciate your time. And thanks again.
Can we have a round of applause for all of our Hall of Fame members? And just kind of coming off of what Wes said, I hope we all remember how special this place is, because it really is. As you grow older, you know. Okay, I've got a couple housekeeping items before we eat. After our invocation, and I didn't ask Scott to do it yet, so he's gotten up, so I know we're okay now. I'm going to ask all the Hall of Famers who are in attendance to kind of move to that side. We do this every year. We're going to bring this backdrop over there, and we're going to have pictures of all the current Hall of Fame members who are in attendance. So if you would like to get a picture of everybody at that time, we'll kind of migrate that way, and when the official picture is done, you can take your cell phone pictures or however you want to do it. After that picture is done, families and friends of the Hall of Famers will be our first people in line. So if you're sitting at a family table, you can head over after the pictures are done. Then the rest of the tables will follow that. This is going to be one of your last chances to enter our 50-50 drawing. So the guys will be coming around with the 50-50 ball. Please participate if you so desire. There will also be some times to take other pictures after the ceremony on the gym floor. We'll actually unveil the Hall of Fame plaques on the wall, and you can have friends and family pictures out there after that presentation in the gym between the varsity and JV games tonight. I also would like to recognize some special sponsors who donate to this and make it possible. B&M Family Enterprises, Broombaugh Engineering and Surveying, Coat Concrete Products Incorporated, Cress Wealth Strategies, Sensational Barbers, D.W. Kendall Insurance, the Diaz family, Hamler Gingrich Insurance, McGrath Service Center, Milton-Union Girls Basketball, School Insurance Consultants, LLC, Stephen Pearson, DDS, and the West Milton Vision Center. These individuals and families have made contributions to our Hall of Fame and help us put on this program every year, and without them, we would not be able to do it. If you choose to donate to this event and you want to do it other at a time tonight, you can contact Chris Fulton here at the high school. Also contact Chris if you have nominations for people that you think should be in the Hall of Fame. Please contact Chris and he'll fix you up. The only stipulation is the inductees must have graduated 10 years prior to their year of induction Our next class is the class of 2025. This was the class of 2024. After the meal, if you'd like to watch the basketball game, there's going to be a designated seating area. Chris, which side, where's the seating area at? Okay, so on that side, when you go in, it's got it marked off. Families and friends can sit there. Be in that area as the second quarter of the JV game starts to kind of get about halfway done. Or, I'm sorry, be in that area about the second quarter after the JV games begin. I'm messing up. Fourth quarter of the JV game. You want to be in there because between the JV and varsity game, we're going to move out on the floor. We'll put up a podium. All the Hall of Fame members who are here will be out on the floor, and we'll give you all your plaques at that time. Then, after that's over, all the Hall of Famers will move into the lobby where the pictures will be taken next to the display, and everyone else can take their pictures if they like. If you want to stay for the varsity game, you can. There's no stipulation that you have to. If you'd like to stay, you can. You can stay seated there or move around, whatever you'd like to do. I think that's all the housekeeping stuff. Scotty, you want to come on up? Yeah.
Some of you have not been in the facility recently or have not been in it at all, and you, after you're done eating, you want to go over here and we'll have some of the high school kids that are doing 50-50, and they give you a short tour of the building. So that's available if you want it, it's not required, but some of you who may have gone to school in the other building, haven't made it into this one, kind of want to look around a little bit, and more than happy to show you around some of the
Let's bow our heads in prayer, please. Our Heavenly Father, bless us as we gather for this banquet. We give you thanks that we're again permitted to gather in this fellowship. May our friendships be strengthened and our lives be broadened. As we give you thanks for this food, we ask that you bless it to our bodies and our bodies to your service. In Jesus Christ we pray. Amen.
Okay, let's go ahead and those Hall of Famers in attendance kind of begin to kind of migrate that way. Dana, you want